An internet search of digital keyboards will bring up thousands
and thousands
of results, maybe even more. But yet, here's the top 10 mistakes that people make when purchasing. Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in downtown San Antonio, Texas.
And I'm Patrick Marr. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, like our videos, sign up for notifications, and leave us comments. We love to interact with you guys. Ted, really excited for this one today. We have mistakes people make when purchasing a digital piano.
Well, there's lots of them too.
Well, there's lots of options and there's lots of mistakes. So we narrowed the list down for you guys to the top 10. It's very complicated when picking the right instrument, especially if you're picking for someone else. If it's a gift, if it's for your child, if it's for yourself even, you can say, hey, I want these options, I don't want these options, what do these words mean? It's a different language for a lot of people, especially if you're a beginner. And usually a beginner is going to choose a digital piano. So right off the bat, I think you wanted to, we had arranged the list in a different way, but right off the bat, you said we should move this one to the top.
It's not an acoustic piano, or I wanted an acoustic piano. That's what it is.
So if you are looking for a digital piano to replace an acoustic piano or to be an acoustic piano, it's never going to be that.
A lot of people are surprised because they think that a digital piano will be a lot nicer and convenient, and it really is. It's a great thing for a student or a professional or anyone that just wants to really, work a lot in headphones or even just play a lot. But if you're replacing an acoustic piano with a digital, the sound is going to be a lot different. And sometimes that's an adjustment in the household because the digital piano is always in tune. It's always perfect.
So if you're a piano player already and you've played a lot of acoustic pianos, or if you're very interested in playing and you love that acoustic sound, a digital piano might never answer your question of, I want that acoustic piano, I need the feel of acoustic piano. So we want to say digital pianos right off the bat are not an acoustic piano. They're not all equal. And so if you are looking for an acoustic piano, stop the video now and look at acoustic pianos and go play an acoustic piano, because digital pianos will never replace that. And so
we have a top 10 mistakes for acoustic pianos too.
We have that video. So our top mistake is you're looking for something else, looking for an acoustic piano. Secondly, this is a very common mistake, and this is why we kind of put some keyboards so we can reference them behind us. You pick the wrong keys, you pick the wrong action on the digital piano. So right behind Ted here, I have a spring-loaded key action. And so a lot of the times a teacher will say, make sure you get weighted action keyboard, or get weighted hammers, or graded action. There's a whole bunch of different words that basically say more like an acoustic piano. Here behind us, we have a spring action, just to show you guys what a spring action looks like. It's a very on-off feel. And so Ted, you've played a lot of pianos before. Why do you need to avoid this if you're over the age of 3 or 4?
If you're over the age of 3 or 4 and you're really learning an instrument, part of learning the piano requires the muscle coordination from about the elbows down through the fingertips, with the impact on the ear as an immediacy. So finger patterns are learned and chord patterns are learned, and it's kind of what people call a muscle memory. And I've never been able to get my muscles to run a mile out of memory, because you always got to put forth some effort in it. But playing an instrument does seem to have some kind of muscle memory to it.
And so spring action keyboards are definitely the affordable option. And so if it's all you can afford, it's not a bad instrument. But a lot of the times you talk to a music teacher, a piano teacher, a piano player, and they will immediately say, hey, try to avoid a spring action keyboard. Look for a used weighted action, or look for something a little bit nicer. A little bit more money can get you a lot better of a keyboard response. And like you said, sure, it builds muscle memory, and it allows for you to progress a lot farther as a player. So be aware of what you're looking at. Be aware of, is this the right action for me?
Now, a spring action, my preferred market for spring action are like little kids, anywhere like 7, 8, 9 and under, particularly if they're 5 years old and under. You don't know what to get a little kid with for their 2nd or 3rd birthday. Get them a keyboard that's got drums, it's got piano, it's got sound, and just let them fool with it. Don't try to teach them, and just let them use it as a toy. They'll figure it all out eventually.
It can really draw in a player. So if you are looking for a gift for somebody, it is a great idea. And it's also, if your kid is going to be a musical kid or want to be taking music lessons eventually, it is something that draws them in a little bit more naturally. It's a very cool instrument. Our third one on the list is going to be, I spent too much money. And so this is very easy to do. Digital pianos can be $50, they can be $15,000. And so knowing what you're looking for and your budget can be important, because if you spend too much money on something, it might be a sore spot, because you might be, oh, I spent too much on this. It's no one's playing it in the house, especially with digital technology. And I wanted to put this in the video. Think about your televisions, think about your computers, your cell phones. Is anyone using a cell phone from 15 years ago? Very, very, less than 1% probably are using a phone from 15 years ago. And that's because technology rapidly moves, and it's always innovating, and it's always changing. And like we said earlier, an acoustic piano and a digital piano are not the same. Maybe in 15 years, they'll be a lot closer. Those strides keep happening. And so if you spend too much on a digital piano and it's not the one that you love, you might regret it later.
A lot of times it's easy to buy into options because people think that, oh, I would like that, oh, I like that, I like that, I like that. When you get done, you have the top line model with a bunch of features that you're going to have to learn how to use, and may not want to put the time into it, and just all I really wanted to do was just to practice the piano.
I think you're foreshadowing to one of our next ones here. It's too complicated. And so, like you were saying, if you get something with a lot of features, with a lot of buttons, with a lot of distractions on it, a lot of the times it can seem like, hey, this is too much for me. It's not
Sure,
accessible.
like the space shuttle when you look at it, the what do they call the dashboard? And a lot of the keyboards have moved towards simplifying that dashboard effect by putting those screens with an app. And I think that was one of the best moves that digital keyboards made was going to the touchscreen. However, the technology hasn't moved where you get a great touchscreen action into a little spring-loaded keyboard, so it makes it simple to use. So there's still a lot of buttons on a lot of things.
And it's actually interesting because a lot of manufacturers, with the invention of the iPad and iPhones and this touchscreen technology, have innovated and say, hey, instead of us building out a whole screen, which is very cost prohibitive, let's make an app. Let's have it so it plugs into this keyboard and I can control the whole keyboard from a touchscreen, where a lot of us are comfortable with that technology. Before it was all laid out in buttons. There still is a whole bunch of options with a lot of buttons on it. So we did want to say complication can be a deterrent to playing the instrument. So we have, it's not an acoustic instrument. We have the action is wrong. We have it's priced too high. We have it's too complicated. What about price too low, Ted?
That can happen a lot too. Someone says, hey, let's go get this guy a digital piano. And so he's thinking in his mind, maybe a nice hybrid or something. That's not even in the discussion. And they're thinking a couple of $100. Mm-hmm. Well, you're talking about something that's over $10,000 to something that's under $300. So there's different disparities, like what you imagine and what you get are always two different things.
And it's important to realize the right instrument for today might not be the right instrument for 2 or 3 years down the road. And if you're making the investment for today and saying, hey, this is good for me right now, I'm learning to play, I just want to get something that plays a tone, plays in tune, don't have to mess with, that might be the right instrument today. But if you are really saying, I want to commit to this, I want to be playing piano in 2 or 3 years, it's important to say, hey, I need to get an instrument that will keep up with me for these 2 or 3 years, so I don't have to buy something in 6 months or have to buy something in a year's time.
Correct. A lot of times the keyboard purchaser that's coming in that does spend too little is someone whose primary instrument is something other than piano. So you may have a violin soloist or a trumpet player or a sax player that needs to get some keyboard skills along with their music studies. What they don't realize is if they spend a little bit more, they could actually just program a little jam session in there with key changes, and they could actually have a band instead of just listening to the scale and playing. And so you can get a little bit more by really not spending a whole lot.
It's interesting. We're in 2020. COVID hit us. Quarantine hit us. Schools are trying to we're here in the fall. Schools are trying to get back in the flow of things, but music majors have really been impacted by this. And we work with some of our local universities here in San Antonio, and they were trying to figure out that budget instrument that works for their music majors. And originally they were like, what's the most affordable thing you have that they can learn their scales with? And then the teachers came in, the professors came in, and they all tried these very low priced ones. And like, well, what if we give them the option that they can upgrade for rental fee to get the weighted key ones? And and they started talking about these options. So it's important to realize that the best value and the cheapest sometimes is not the best value. Sorry, the cheapest is not the best value sometimes, and sometimes you need to spend a little bit extra to get those features, and it really improves the experience playing that.
Yes, it does.
So number 5, they spent too little. I know it's hard sometimes to budget, but if you're taking lessons and you're paying a monthly thing for lessons, realize how much you're spending in a year's time, and an instrument needs to at least be equal to that value. You're investing so much time into yourself, into your student. The instrument is a very important tool. It's the tool you're using for that. So that's number 5, they spent too little. Number 6, Ted, I bought a synthesizer instead of a keyboard, or I bought a workstation.
Wrong application. Absolutely wrong application.
But it looks like a keyboard.
It does look like a keyboard, and workstations usually have a compression that's going to make those prices go up. And so someone's going to ask, why does it cost so much? Or at least they should. And a workstation is great for someone, and this is where a lot of times people buy them ahead of time. They are an aspiring producer. They hear a finished song and they're wanting to learn how to play a scale on the piano. A workstation is probably in their future, but is it their best application for right now?
And it's important to realize these items are going to look very similar. So if you see something online and you're like, oh, on Craigslist or on eBay, this is a great price for this, maybe it's not the right thing you're looking for. If you're looking to practice piano or buy your first digital keyboard, a synthesizer and a workstation are not the same thing that you're looking for.
And a lot of times, they go home and they turn it on, and there's no speakers.
That's our next one.
Okay.
So speakers, if you're missing speakers on the unit, and there's a lot of different applications for this, workstations, synthesizers, but also stage pianos. A stage piano will look exactly like a lot of these 88-key practice pianos. I have one behind me. This is the Casio version, 88 keys, has speakers on it, but it's very narrow, so it looks like it doesn't. And a lot of stage pianos are going to be built very heavy duty, a little bit heavier. They're going to be expensive. They're going to be, oh, this is a quality instrument. I'm spending $1,000 on it. It's highly reviewed. It's a great instrument. Click and buy. Oh, wait, it doesn't have any speakers on it. What am I going to use this? How I'm either need headphones or I need speakers.
Reference monitors.
Studio monitors. And so be aware of what you're buying. The next one on our list was no speakers are on the instrument. And there's a lot of options out there, thousands of options where they don't have speakers. And that's, for some people, that's the right application. They're going to take it to a gig and they're going to plug into the sound system. They're taking it to church, they're going to plug it into the sound system. A stage piano is a great instrument, but it might not be the right one for you. And we've seen this mistake happen a lot.
Right.
So that's number 7 on our list, no speakers on the instrument. Number 8 kind of fits in line with these two, portability.
Portability. If you have to get to the gig or you have to move it around, and it is really surprising the number of people that come in and buy a digital piano or a digital keyboard and they think, oh, it's just so I can play at home. Well, generally within a couple of months, people find out that they're playing piano and they've returned to having music, and it's like, could you play at our bridge club? Could you play here? So you have people that are starting to want to bring their instrument someplace else, and they already purchased what they're playing on at home. So it's not portable. And they never bought it for portability, but now they need it to be portable. So they're shopping for portability.
Or if you're someone who's going to be moving a lot. And we have this in San Antonio, we're Military City, USA, and a lot of people don't know where they're going to be in 3 years.
Right.
But their kids are playing piano, and they need something that's portable, that they can move. They have to be under a certain weight limit. Also, if you're in your house and you just want to move it to the back room because you're having company over and it's a little small keyboard, make sure that you're looking up weight dimensions and you're looking up how easy it would be for 2 people to pick it up. Even on some of these bigger ones, this Kawai here, it's a CA59, it's still accessible to pick up and move.
Yeah.
We picked it up here and moved it into the studio. It's not crazy to move. You can move this upstairs if you needed to. But portability, sometimes with those hybrid instruments, when they get more expensive, the speaker systems get bigger, get heavier.
It's harder to move.
And so just be aware of what you're purchasing and the portability of it. Mm-hmm. And then that leads us to ergonomics.
Accessories.
So accessories. This is, you bought the wrong accessories or you're looking at the instrument with wrong accessories, and it affects the ergonomics of how you're playing. Ted had a great story about this.
Yeah, we had a number of times someone come in and they're returning a keyboard that kind of looks like that, just real thin, on a neck stand with a neck bench. And they had pedals attached to it. And she said, don't worry, I'm going to get something else. It's just, this is not working for me. And she walked over and looked around a couple of things, sat down and started playing, and immediately said, now this is what I want. This piano is all set up. It's got a stand. It's got this in it. And I said, that is the exact same thing that you're bringing back, except it has the manufacturer suggested accessory of the stand and bench to go with it instead of fill in the blank kind of accessories.
It's important to realize that there are a lot of options. So we have these on X stands here in the studio. The Kawai behind us has the manufactured stand because of the CA series. It comes with that stand and it's an installed piece. That's actually a keyboard basically on the top with an installed frame on it. And so it's important to realize some of these keyboards do, especially the more expensive ones, do come with an option sometimes for the manufacturer's stands. There's also different types of X stands. There's a double braced X stand. There's a single braced that adds stability. There's also a Z-shaped one. So if you're sitting at a bench and your knees jut out and you don't want them to hit the X stand, it's important.
For like sitting at a piano.
And same with benches. There are adjustable benches. There's piano benches. There's keyboard benches. And there's quality levels all in between. And it's important to realize not all of them are the same, and it can adjust the playability of the instrument because you're not comfortable or you're not adjusted to the right height. And so that's very, very important, and it's a top mistake we see all the time.
Different keyboards have different access to accessories too. So like some of the very lightweight springboard, like an entry line, it's going to be hard to get that to sound really great in concert through the little sound that it has. It's not really a concert type of keyboard. So there are some things that aren't limited. Some keyboards won't take all 3 pedals like a classical piano does. So look at the accessories because that leads to how much can you expand after the purchase. Does it have MIDI capabilities? Can you go into learning computer programming and learning software for notation as well? So those accessories are really important. And access to accessories.
So ergonomics is our number 9 on the list. Very important to realize which accessories you are going to be purchasing or which ones you're going to be looking for. Which brings us to number 10, Ted. Number 10 on a long list. So we hope you guys are still here with us. Wrong number of keys.
Oh, that's an interesting one because they make, usually these are 61 notes. And a regular piano can be 88 or 92 on the Bosendorfers, 96.
Very rarely you see
very
it.
rarely.
You see over 88. So 88 is the preferred measurement of keys. But again, it might be that you're looking for something that's a little bit more portable, like we had said, and a smaller keyboard would be the right one for you. But just be aware that these do come in different sizes. Not all keyboards are created equal.
Correct.
And so you can buy a 30-note keyboard. You can buy a little small synthesizer that has 20 keys, 24 keys. But really the most commonly looked for keyboard is going to be 88 keys, 88 weighted keys preferably. And that's really getting you towards playing a piano, and it gives you access to the high notes and the low notes when you're doing runs, when you're doing dynamics, and when you're adding
octaves.
It's really important to have those because then you run out of key at the end, especially on the 61. You're playing along, and it's like, I'm not going to use more than 60 keys. It just repeats after a while, doesn't it? But it's very important to realize that you have the right number of keys on the instrument that needs your specification. So Ted, that was our top 10 list. Lots of mistakes you can make. These are our most common that we do see. Again, we're Ted Barcelou, Patrick Marr with Alamo Music. Thank you guys again for watching. If you have any questions, please head over to our website, alamomusic.com. We can help you guys out. We have a chat there, and we can help you and chat with you and find the right digital piano for you, or answer any questions that you might have. Please leave us comments if you have any more suggestions or any questions that you'd like us to address. Again, you can find us on YouTube here. We have multiple channels, and we'd love for you guys to subscribe and like our videos. Thanks for watching.